Oh, hello, you Rowan. As I've said before, these stories, whether it's Hugh Edwards, Philip Schofield, Dan Wootton, and now Russell Brand, these stories are changing on an hourly basis. It's no longer daily or weekly, it's hourly. And this Russell Brand story has got momentum. Why am I saying that? Let me just run through some very quick points for you. Some of them are exclusives, some of them you've not joined the dots. I'm absolutely positive. So point 3 is an exclusive. Point 4, you've not worked it out yet. But points 1 and 2 are still very, very powerful. So point number 1. Russell has not been cancelled by YouTube. Let me say that again for you. Russell Brand has not been cancelled by YouTube. He's been demonetized. Now, that is the same as when Russell was demonetized for broadcasting some misinformation. Remember that? That's why he went away and he set up his Rumble channel, because he was demonetized when making a lot of money on YouTube. And why was he demonetized before? CNN had broadcast something with misinformation in it, and Russell and his team had taken that bit of information and used it. So it was, YouTube said, misinformation, can't do that, demonetized. I think it may be a 90-day thing. Not sure, because I've not been demonetized myself in the past. So I think that YouTube have demonetized Russell's channel simply to say, well, hang on a second, we need to look at our business model. Our business model is advertising. We don't want to upset the advertisers, so we're just going to put a hold on that for the moment. So he's being demonetized, not cancelled. So he can continue, maybe, with his YouTube channel. Now, secondly, BBC. BBC, what are they doing? Is it this BBC thing? They're sanitizing their archive. They're getting rid of Russell Brand content. They're sanitizing it. They're whitewashing it. They're getting rid of it. And why would they do that? Is this, Mr. BBC, is this a derriere covering exercise? Why on earth would you, if you've had archive up there from 2008, 15 years ago, why would you suddenly start sanitizing it now? Why are you wiping it? Why are you getting rid of it? The heat getting a bit much for you? You're not having a good 2023, are you? But why on earth would the BBC sanitize their Russell Brand content? Who's going to be the target of the mudslinging? Is it going to be the BBC? Because remember, they're having an inquiry into his time, that's Russell Brand's time, at the BBC and what he got up to, including that Savile interview, which I think is everywhere on the internet now. So who's going to be the target of the mudslinging? The BBC or Channel 4? Because he worked at Channel 4, remember? Big Brother's Big Mouth. Can you see how they're all scrambling now? Advertisers don't like it, so you don't want anybody affecting advertising. The BBC, public service broadcaster, what have they got in their archive that they're scared of now? That question has to be asked. It's a legitimate question to ask of the BBC. What are they sanitizing and why? Just trips off the tongue. Now, got some breaking news for you. An exclusive. Today, 19th of September 2023, Russell Brand has resigned 2 directorships from 2 companies. He's quit directorships of One Arm Bandit, where he was made a director in 2007, and the Mayfair Film Partnership, which he was made a director of in 2010. And you can get, this is freely available from Companies House and their website. You can go and find it yourself, but it is there on Companies House. Russell resigned this morning. He was appointed a director of the Mayfair Film Partnership on the 9th of July 2010. He's resigned today. And One Arm Bandit, it was 2007, and again he's resigned today. So there's an exclusive for you. It's nowhere else. Nobody else has got it. Let's see how quickly the mainstream media pounce on that. But here's a question. Well, I'll ask the questions at the end, because I want to get to something really prescient. Katy Perry. A lot of people in the media are saying Katy Perry holds the key. Oh, I'm sure she does. But in the nuanced world of showbiz, you've got to look at the timing of things. So Katy Perry, from her documentary, a behind-the-scenes look at Katy Perry and what she does and her team and her live shows. It's called Part of Me. Russell was in that. He's in that in the beginning. But remember that Russell texted Katy Perry. They got married in October 2010. 23rd of October 2010. The 25th is actually Katy's birthday, so it was a couple of days before her birthday. They got married in India. Just over a year later, 14 months, Russell texts her just before she's going to go on stage and says he wants a divorce. 31st of December 2011. 14 months. Now, in this documentary, you can, if you go and see it somewhere, it's available somewhere, you might have to buy it to see this, but it shows you her collapsing in tears, in floods of tears, and she's dressed to go on stage. And the cameraman just is able to see her through the door. She's bursting into tears. And then the next thing you see, she's standing underneath the stage, about to go on stage, and the crowd is massive. The crowd is screaming and shouting and wanting her on stage. And she's standing there, and you can see she's trying to compose herself before she goes on stage. Is she going to be able to do it? The stagehand standing right next to her, eyes fixed on her, so that she can give him a signal to say she's ready to go on stage. And you can see she's fighting her emotions. There's the old showbiz adage, the show must go on, but she's fighting with every fibre of her being, her emotions. And then she just clicks in, smile on face, here we go, showtime. Now that takes some steel. Your partner of 14 months, your husband of 14 months tells you, I want a divorce, and you've got to go on stage in front of tens of thousands of people and give them a show. I take my hat off to Katy Perry, but there's the thing. She said she had kept his truth in her safe at home. What is that? Now they say, and she's not said anything, she's not come out and said anything about their marriage, but considering the amount of doo-doo that young Russell is in, there is an old adage, revenge is a dish best served cold. So have you seen in the press today, she and her team have announced that she's sold the back catalogue and publishing for her first 5 albums for $225 million. Have you seen that yet? Katy Perry announced today that she has sold her back catalogue and publishing for her first 5 albums, $225 million. That's a few beers. It's all about the timing. In the nuanced world of showbiz, it's all about the timing. Why on earth would she release that today, knowing her ex-husband is up to his eyeballs in it? Now, this story's got momentum. What is Russell preparing for? To resign 2 directorships, of which his former manager, John Noel, is still an active director. That's got to be a question that somebody somewhere is going to ask. Question number 2, the stuff happening in the background. Why is the BBC sanitising its Russell Brand archive that's possibly been on there from 15, 18 years when he was doing BBC Sounds in the early noughties, and then he was doing radio too? Why are they sanitising all that? Question 3, why has Katy Perry released the announcement of trousering $225 million today, right when her ex-husband is in the doo-doo? Is that revenge? And what is it that she's got in her safe at home? And finally, why has he resigned the directorships today? Who's advising him? Has he got a reputational management company on board? Who's advising him? And why would you resign those 2 directorships? Oh, what a tangled web we weave, if at first we practice to deceive, is the old Shakespearean line. But there you go, 4 points that I don't think anybody else has given you today. My name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. Don't forget to make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, because there's more coming and more exclusives. Remember, KBO, and don't forget the Battenberg.